How y'all doing? How y'all doing? I hope y'all doing good. I am. Whatever time you may be viewing this, night or day, in this vast world we live in. But today, in this lecture, we're talking about the sleeping kings of Kush and the Black Valhalla, right? So, this is like the Kushite kingdom, the forgotten kings of the 25th dynasty and stuff like that, which was a main conflict between the clash of the Nubians and the Libyans, right? And the clash of the Nubians and the Assyrians, right? And I'm gonna give us a map overview so we can know exactly where this was or still was taking place, right? First and foremost, though, the king of the Kushite dynasty in the 8th century was Kashta, right? And it, in my opinion, it sounds similar to the word cash. Kashta right here, the emperor of this dynasty, and son probably was the successor, which we're going to get into later in this lecture. to give us a quick map look though of where in the area this was taking place. It was in like Syria, Middle East, Africa, part of the whole peninsula and the Strait of the Red Sea, right? So let me zoom out a little right here. All right, so we could see this. Shit, can we see this? Anyways, you may be able to see this. I hope you can see this. A lot of the conflict was along the Mediterranean Sea right here, for like seaports and stuff like that. A lot of the battles and wars and stuff was in this Egyptian area and part of this Syrian area over here, like mainly in this little blend, or you could call it that if you want it. But from the so it took place from the shores of the Mediterranean to the borders of modern Ethiopia, which is kind of like at the bottom of that peninsula, if you saw, which, you know what I'm saying, Black Nubian troops of Kushite at that time had they had defeated the other emperor, Asorkon III. I believe that was his name, Asorkon III. Which was, he was a Libyan king of Upper Egypt, and in that battle he got brought to his knees, right? And it crushed the rebellion of the petty kings under Tafnak, which was another general. And in doing so, it seized power of Lower and Upper Egypt. The Nubians has seized, the Black Nubians seized power of Lower and Upper Egypt. I got another. I think I got another map right here. This is probably cool version. So I'm saying this is kind of like a depiction of the Kushite and the Assyrian Empire during the 8th century. So you can see right here, this is where the Nile River lies right here, or it's where it flows, I should say, in this Red Sea. So we get the geographical view of where that was taking place, right? And after that, after the Black Nubians had gained territorial control over that for like a brief century, it was restoring Egypt back to its former glory. You know what I'm saying? Renovating the temples, giving new life to the moral authority, to the sun god. You know what I'm saying? Fixing up the pyramids, stuff like that. And at that time, the sun god Ra, you know what I'm saying, became god of among both the Nubians and the Egyptians, right? And archaeologists Joyton and Van Dier, I think that's how you pronounce it, supported the claim that royal family was descended from a high priest, the Thebes of Herior, which was founded in the 21st dynasty. But a little after like 150 years of the Nubian rule, after 150 years of that, his successors were overthrown due to like lack of progression and stuff like that. He was forced to flee from Egypt. You know what I'm saying? Which led Nubia to an expansive national passion towards economies and stuff like that, right? Which was probably, I would probably say, if I had to guess, I'd probably say like the beginning of the Bronze Age. Sounds kind of accurate to me, right? But in this 25th dynasty that the historians Joy and Van Dier had discovered, it was a hereditary king. His name was Pinekey, right? Pinekey, and he was a Black Nubian king, right? Like the broad day. And I'm gonna show y'all a picture of what he looked like. Yeah. Here we go. So we could see, you know what I'm saying? Oh damn, hold on. I need to cut for that. Because when we look up, when I looked up this picture of Pine Key, shows a depiction of this Negroid character, this Nubian, right? And I was just, you know what I'm saying, looking at like this. I was looking at the name Pi, right? Like Pi, like you can see that's a Pi or a Pi, and I was thinking, like I was just doing some regular thinking and shit. That I'm not like 100% sure, but I'm like 90% sure, 99% sure that's where Pi root comes from, like Pi root, Fibonacci sequence, and the Kushites, they were it's like a strong army, right? So if we could understand that Pi and Pi root kind of look the same, right? So I was thinking the Pyrus, right? Like the American Pyrus is a similar coalition, right? And that wouldn't be absurd to think, right? Like the Pyrus, you know what I'm saying? That was just for the, you know what I'm saying, the brotherhood and shit like that, right? So we could witness and see, right? And this hereditary, the hereditary ruler, the kingdom of Kushites, you know what I'm saying, and his name was Payonki, which is kind of like a term for like the living one, because that's what they saw in his tomb when they had, when archaeologists had, you know what I'm saying, dug him up and everything, right? So he was kingdom of the Kushites up until about 716 BC, after about like 30 years of his domination and everything. He was put to bed in his tomb located in Akuri, which is another city in the Egypt area, you know what I'm saying. And in his tomb he was accompanied by many horses, linen, treasures, arrowheads, and other treasures and stuff like that, right? So I'm gonna show us the bottom of these. This is what it would have looked like, you know what I'm saying, going in and towards someone's tomb. Like you can see the mound in the background right here, and that's where you would lead in the tomb. And they had reason to believe that, like it was, the tomb was in like, I think, a Libyan area, but they had reason to believe that he was still Nubian, for the fact that what they found in his tombs, and different tribes had different like burial methods of how they mummify someone, in that sense, right? And with the idea that it was in a Libyan area or Libyan link, there was this I think it was this archaeologist or his historian named like G.A. Resinier. You guys could look him up if you want. I ain't really look into who he was or nothing. But on the tomb, he had perceived a reading on the steel, graved in steel, the Queen Tiberi, which was one of Paenki's queens, as Tamu, right? And like the picture I just showed y'all, right? Which is an ancient tribe of southern Libya, and that's where the tribe was in southern Libya. But I myself, I'm not entirely sure if he was fully Nubian or like in that area of just where Libya was, right? And in spite of like Egyptian culture and influence, the manner of like royal burial is distinctive amongst black kings versus etc., right? And black kings, they were buried on beds rather than coffins, right? Like even still to this day, black kings are buried on beds rather than coffins. They're sleeping on beds rather than coffins, right? Some coffins, I say, because there's different tiers of like coffins for each person's rank. You know what I'm saying? Some coffins were made out of like cedar wood, which is like a it's just like a birch wood, stuff like that, right? With like different carvings and niches cut out near the corner for the legs, right? Of like the fernery bed. You know what I'm saying, or the frame which the bench rests on. Actually, I think I got a better picture right here. Yeah. Like right here. And this right here would have been like, you know what I'm saying, cedar wood and stuff for the legs, for the you know what I'm saying, the bench that it rests on and stuff like that, right? I'm saying and specifically in the Queen's tomb, the two bronze legs, they were still there. Like the two cast bronze legs, they were still on they were still in place when they had found the tomb burial, right? And that specific type of intricate burial was practiced by the Nubians 1,000 years earlier than when they have found that, not really casket, but found that tomb in the Libyan area, but it was practiced by the Nubians. That's why I said earlier. I think he just died in that area. They buried him in that area. You know what I'm saying? And when the Nubians were paying like tribute, bearing gifts to the pharaohs, stuff like that, there was, you know what I'm saying, there wasn't really no doubt as to what the racial identity was. You know what I'm saying, whether he was Negro or not, but it was kind of confusion as to whether it's Nubian or Libyan. But within the inside like one of one of these mosques and everything, there was a representation of a Negro Nubian on an Egyptian wall painting at the tomb of High at Thebes, right? Which is like a sacred city in Egypt, right? And Payankai's predecessor, Payankai, was Kashada's son, right? That I showed us in the beginning. And Payankai, after Payankai was buried, his predecessor Shabaka was his brother, right? And he became the ruler after his brother's burial. And Shabaka had like peace talks with the Assyrian king Sennacherib, which was, you know what I'm saying, like is what they call detente, as far as like policy works and stuff like that. So the two of them were the king Sennacherib and Shabaka. They were having peace talks as far as the nation state and everything. And artifacts of Shabaka's royal seal was found side by side with that of Sennacherib in the royal archives at the Kayunjuk at Nineveh, right? Which is part of the antediluvian world history. That royal seal is what liberates a lot of people as far as obtaining rights and the whole nine of consciousness and stuff like that, right? Well, not literally the whole nine, but I'm saying you get my point though, right? And during this time, it was around like 800 BC. Nubians, or the Nubian state, had been moving towards independence and reconciliation since the 10th century BC, right? But it wasn't until sometime 800, 750 BC, where the Nubians of you know what I'm saying, that Egyptian area started partaking in and taking advantage of the schisms within Egypt for trade expansion, right? As far as vassalage, trading, stuff like that. And a royal house found at there was a royal house found at Napata, which is a venerated city, where actually I think I got a picture of Napata. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Hold on. See here. Oh dang, hold on. Well, whatever the case may be, I'm saying Napata was kind of near the Red Sea, and it's kind of like near the Nile River, right? And if we know the Nile River, that's like prime for sea route expansion and harboring and stuff like that, right? And a royal house found at Napata, like I was saying earlier, they had to have a king who felt strong enough to extend his power into the south, right? And that in that time, that was Kashta, right? Who had, you know what I'm saying, pushed the Libyan king Ashur Khan the third he pushed him out of the south, right, and made himself master of all the gold mines, the dominant Nubian militia, as far as conquering land and stuff like that, right? And in a long story, the black kings of the Nubian and the Egyptian area had inspired a lot of the black renaissance of the Egyptian spirit. You know what I'm saying? Like the temples were renovated, restored mummifications, pyramid buildings. You know what I'm saying? And the entire culture, you know what I'm saying, prospered in that direction, right? And further down towards Lower Egypt, like the lower section. Let's see if I pull my map up real quick. Hold on. Here we go. All right. Yeah. So we can see, like, I mean, this is kind of like a vague map, but we can just see the bottom of Egypt. The bottom of Egypt is right here, and that's relative to where Sudan is, right? Sudan and that part of the Red Sea that leads into the Mediterranean Sea up here, in this area, and a lot of the islands where a lot of people would dock there when they got pushed out of the when Ashur Khan got pushed out of the Egyptian area, they would dock on these little islands and stuff like that, right? And shit, hold on. And like I was saying, down towards Lower Egypt, Taharka became king in 688 BC, where he established his palace while working, you know what I'm saying, with the policy that Dante policy, right? And the let me put this in the context real quick. The Assyrians were like combating with the Nubians, right? And during that time, the Phoenicians were under vassalage to the Assyrians. Okay. Now that's important to understand before we understand why the war that I'm about to, expose and everything, right? Saying, well, anyways, Tarik conspired with the Phoenicians, kind of like in the Tyre, right? Which is like West Bank, north of Jerusalem, a little bit. You know what I'm saying? And in Sidon, and so the Phoenicians, he conspired in the Phoenicians in Tyre and in Sidon against the Assyrians, which at the time, like I said, the Phoenicians were vassalage of the Assyrians. You know what I'm saying? Now this plot was to kind of retaliate against the Assyrians, but the critical plot was discovered, and the Assyrians ended up retaliating against Egypt and Phoenicia, and ultimately the Phoenician king Sidon was executed, as per anybody would be, right? You know what I'm saying? And eventually an insurrection had broke out, but soon later it was savagely put down, in which the Cold War between Assyria and Egypt had came to an end. Alright, so Esarhaddon, the son of Sennacherib, you know what I'm saying, marched to Egypt, where he met Taharqara's army at Memphis in 671 BC, you know what I'm saying? So like and in short, I should say the relations of Black Nubians and Phoenicians wasn't all turbulent, because they had a common interest toward the face of the Assyrians, right? And Egypt had been trading with the Phoenicians for centuries. Although the Phoenicians, they were semi-illiterate, because a lot of like the books and the texts and stuff, they weren't as coherent as it could be. Or in another sense, it's like reading a book in another language, though, like a half language, right? And for centuries, these people had been nomads to the desert, right? And like I was saying earlier, they had got pushed out of the mainland, and they had to, you know what I'm saying, dock on islands in the Mediterranean, which was prime for a lot of trading, right? As they could, you know what I'm saying, push further up towards Greece, Athens, or even Italy. A lot of these islands had their own like little, I think they would call them like hop islands, where you could just you know what I'm saying, hit different islands up as far as, you know what I'm saying, where different resources were, because a lot of the resources in Egypt had already been kind of mined, and it was running low and everything. And I mean, it's not like resources, they just regenerate. Some, I would say some could, depending, because resources grow naturally though, right? So in a way it does kind of regenerate. But if you're mining like a hard surface, then the mines would be empty at a certain point, as opposed to like liquid natural gas flowing through tubes and stuff like that, where it could kind of be rejuvenated after like waiting periods and stuff like that, right? But they didn't have like the technology back then like we do now, for like oil and shit like that, right? And to say, these people were like they were like nomads, right? So they would go from legit, they could go from anywhere, you know what I'm saying? Because nomads, they're kind of like, they're like caravans. And for those who don't know what like caravans are, there's like people, just a group of people, or I should say, a large group of people traveling from one set marketplace to the next marketplace, either whether it's like from from like Algeria to like Egypt or Niger to Sudan, and they would go to different marketplaces and trade amongst different textiles with scripts, spices, uh, charms, different like gems, stuff like that. Kind of like similar to the Silk Road, the Chinese Silk Road. It's probably actually like the same, honestly, but and a lot of I feel like, well, I'm not gonna say I feel like, but in my opinion, a lot of these emperors and the kings like Katash, Taharka, you know what I'm saying, King Pi, and the Kushite dynasty, um, they would, well, I'm not gonna say they would, but it would make sense for them to keep an eye on said commodities so they could influence, well, not literally influence, so they could enthrall it into different marketplaces and exchange it for other materials and resources that was more needed. That was like more needed for whatever someone wanted to trade, right? Like, I mean, anybody could trade anything, so if they found a demand for it, right? Or if they had a supply. But generally, you're gonna want more demand than you have supply, right? That's kind of like, you know what I'm saying, economics 101, right? Because you bring your product to the marketplace, or your said asset to the marketplace, and then distribute it to those who were interested, right? It could have been like hundreds of people interested in like one said commodity, or 50 people interested in like two commodities, right? It all depends on what that person has to offer to bring, right? And if, I mean, in my opinion, I ain't gonna disclose like how much shit I got or anything, right? But people collect like commodities for like strongholds and units. Like, some people would even get buried with their commodities, or people would, like I was mentioning earlier, people were getting buried with tombstones, which are basically like, you know what I'm saying, gold, copper, silver, beads, necklaces, arrowheads. Some people were getting like buried on top of shell beads as a part of like the ascension process, and what that led into and then ultimately some people would get buried with their dogs, legit, like they would bury them with their dog carcass, and that would lead them, well, the theology behind that was like that would lead them like safe passage into the afterlife, or the higher realms of reality, right? Because our bodies are, you know what I'm saying, emitting past our flesh, right? In my opinion, and then throughout these different, I should say, well, not like burials, but pre-burials, and then the mummification process, specific types of linen will represent different ranks, or different, you know what I'm saying, like, right, like the part of the hierarchy and stuff like that, and through the, I should say, through the process of, like, you know what I'm saying, these tombs and stuff like that, or what was inside of these tombs, and furthermore, who was possessing these tombs. Because like in that picture I showed y'all, the walkway, it goes down, but the tomb was like higher up. It's like leading it into the pyramids, where a lot of people would do their own practice of their horoscope, or they would, you know what I'm saying, dive deeper into their own horoscope, or of sacred geometry, or kind of like the stuff I was going over in the Cahokian lecture, in which, you know what I'm saying, it would transcend them to higher paradigms and stuff like that. But as opposed to, that's on the mainland, but being being that some of these people were pushed to these islands and stuff on the seas. I mean, it's harder to bury somebody on an island than it is like mainland in a pyramid in a tomb, which was a disadvantage for Shorkan and the people that got pushed out of Egypt off the mainland into the Mediterranean islands and stuff like that. And that was part of like the nomadic life. And in short, you know what I'm saying? Nomads of the desert. Some people were nomads of the deserts, but eventually they had to settle on islands in the Mediterranean. You know what I'm saying? But however, there were still nomadic urges because the people were used to that lifestyle and everything, and they soon made of the sea what they had once made of the desert, which was a fuel for restless wandering and expansion, as what people do within their own life, right? It's part of the I guess their walk of life and expansion, right? Because back in like the Egyptian times and stuff, there wasn't really electronical distractions, so people would actually go out and do more as opposed to sitting in a crib. Like they would actually take action into doing it is what they wanted to do and everything, right? And I feel like that's more productive and more progressive than I'm saying like just sitting on your ass and not waiting for it to do shit, right? Not to say anything crazy or anything, but I mean, it's not like if I put it this way, like it's not like one person would put 100 bricks down in a day. I mean, someone could, but in hindsight, a couple blocks a day, or said, you know what I'm saying, by the end of like the month, you would have like 200 blocks or 300 blocks of what you're building towards, or as opposed to where you want to be or where you could see yourself being, right? And it was kind of like that for some of these nomads who were collecting their different items and trinkets and stuff like that, as far as what they would take back to like mainland and or Spain, you know what I'm saying, Iberian Peninsula, stuff like that. And even a lot of them, or I should say a decent amount of them, they would take it across the Atlantic into the Cuba area, into the La Venta and the Olmecs and stuff like that, which is more of what led into modern culture for Mexico and that whole time period of, you know what I'm saying, Aztecs, Incans, and Mayan Empire, as far as what the Black Mandingo had brought over across from Africa and toward that civilization, which has spread across the lands and everything, right? And that just goes to show, like, you know what I'm saying, there's vast expansion and travels for people to connect and stuff like that, or not. In a way, yeah, cause that's like what they were doing back then is what is like modern day networking for right now. You know what I'm saying? Cause anybody could be viewing this right now. It could be at night. Somebody could be viewing this at night, and it could be in like Japan, or somebody could be viewing this at day, and they could be in like Pennsylvania or Nevada or some shit like that, right? But in short, I believe that's how a lot of the laissez-faire economics came to be, of what was going on in the 25th dynasty. You know what I'm saying, the forgotten kings, or the sleeping kings, right? You know what I'm saying. But I say all that to say, the resources are there, you know what I'm saying, and they're within the lectures and stuff like that, right? I know multiple times that I brought up the picture of like the writ adjudication and stuff like that, or the proclamation and stuff like that, which people could take advantage of if they wanted to. In my opinion, I don't see why some people wouldn't, you know what I'm saying? But, you know what I'm saying? It is what it is, you know what I'm saying? Till next time, rocket ship is taking off. Furthermore, ship is leaving the dock.